Hello, hello. Welcome back to Divorce Happens, the podcast where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, a little bit of laughter, and everything you need because, as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here with Kristen. Kristen, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yes, of course. So, my name is Kristen Curtis. I am an EFT tapping practitioner, and I also read the Akashic records.
Amazing. Okay, so many questions off the bat. So, first of all, let's get into it. So, what is EFT for like anybody that doesn't know?
Yeah, so EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, or it's more widely known as tapping. And this is where we tap on certain parts of our face and our body. They're acupressure points specifically, and they help us become more regulated in our nervous system. They help us rewire our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and also help us to process trauma, but to become more calm and just feeling more regulated in ourselves in our
Mm.
bodies.
I'm a big fan of EFT. I'm also certified as an EFT practitioner. And I find with EFT, which we'll get into a little bit, it distracts my brain so much, right? So like whatever that spiral is, it just helps
Mhm.
me kind of like get out of that moment. So you work with a lot of people, especially women, going through life transitions. So let's talk about divorce specifically as a life transition and EFT. How can we use EFT, which is an incredibly powerful tool? I just want to like let people know that. Like, and I know you're going to talk about this a little bit more, but how can we use EFT to help us during this transitional time of divorce?
Yeah, so I think the main way that it could certainly help, and you just touched upon this a little bit, Olivia, is that it brings us to the present moment. When we're going through big life transitions, there's so much stress, there's so much worry, there's so much thinking in our minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can really take us out of the present moment. And the present moment is where we find clarity, is where we
Mm,
are, giving ourselves permission to have compassion with ourselves, to love and accept ourselves no matter what is happening in our world.
yeah.
So, yeah, by actually physically putting your fingertips on these points, you're reminding yourself, oh yeah, I am here. I'm in my body. I can feel these feelings that are coming up. I can do it in the safety of my nervous system. And it allows everything to slow down and helps turn that volume knob of the stress and worry down a bit.
Okay. So you said something that now I know people are going to be wondering, where are these points on your body?
Yeah. So we have some really specific points. We start on the side of our hand. That
Mm-hmm.
is where the first point is. And this point actually indicates to our nervous system we are going to start to make some changes. Gives
Hmm.
like a little warning. And then we come and tap with the inside of our eyebrow, tapping with just one or two fingers here.
Mm-hmm.
Side of the eye, staying right on that occipital bone,
Mm.
coming under the eye, under the nose, under the mouth, on the collarbone points, under the arm, and
Mm-hmm.
top of the head.
So this is something anybody could do really anywhere, right? Like this is not like a hypnosis or like anything like that. Like you could do this sitting in the car, you could do this at work.
This is the really cool thing about tapping is that you don't need any type of specific location. You don't need quiet. You don't need headphones. You need nothing but your fingertips. And I always encourage everyone I work with, to establish your own personal tapping practice. So
Mm,
this is getting your fingertips on these points when you think about it. That can be, like you said, driving red light, right? I'm just going to tap a little
right.
bit
Yeah, yeah.
on some points.
Yep.
This can be in the heat of the moment, right? Like my child is having a tantrum right now. How am I going to regulate myself? I'm going to
Mhm.
use this tool.
Mhm. So you don't have to necessarily go through the whole cycle. You can just kind of like sometimes just tap on those points and it will help your nervous system.
Absolutely. So, getting your fingertip on any of the points that I just mentioned
Okay.
is perfect. It doesn't have to be for a certain amount of time or in a certain order. Whatever you're remembering in the moment is perfect.
Okay, I love that. So now take us through, there is an order, right, that you're supposed to go through when you are kind of releasing, right, or trying to like rewire things. So
Mhm.
you don't have to go through the whole like cycle if you don't want, but what would be something like if you're listening to this and you're feeling stuck, right, because of your divorce that you could tap out,
Yeah. So we could start at the side of the hand and we're
right?
just tapping here. And normally we're closing our eyes because we're
Mhm.
trying to feel what's happening in our body, right?
Okay.
This is sensation based. So we're kind of like, whoa, I'm feeling this stress, like maybe
Yeah.
in my chest right now, feels tight, right? So we could say, even though I feel really stuck right now, I don't know
Okay.
what my next steps are, and it feels really tight in my chest. I love and accept myself as I am.
That's hard to
Right.
say sometimes, right?
Right. So with
Yeah.
tapping two, we want to say what's true. So
Mm,
if I love and accept myself right now is not true, that's totally okay. We can just say, I am practicing being
mm,
present with how I feel, because that's
mhm.
what you're doing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then what we would do, we come up to the inside of the
Mhm.
eyebrow and
Okay.
we
Uh-huh.
repeat how we're
Okay.
feeling. I
Okay.
feel stuck.
Right.
This transition is scary.
Mm,
And we continue along all of the
okay.
points I showed you before,
Yep. Yep.
repeating how we feel.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So, how do you work with people? If somebody's listening to this and they're like, this is exactly what I've been looking for, how can I get in touch with Kristen? How can I work with her?
Yeah, so I work primarily virtually, unless you're very close to me. I will travel to you.
Hmm.
But I work mainly currently with women that are going through a lot of grief. So
Mm,
holding really big, big emotions for
yeah.
grief. And that's just
Okay.
not, a loss of someone or something, right? This can be grieving past versions of ourselves, grieving, what we're not able to access right now in our life.
Yeah.
And divorce, this is a big, big transition, and there is grief
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Something is ending, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I primarily work with women now, holding big space for that grief, telling them and helping them, showing them how they can use tapping in their life out of session.
Yep.
um, so they can work on it themselves, and then really, helping them evolve from that grief to find that really powerful, peaceful part of us that
Mm,
knows we're going to be
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it is, and again, so powerful. Every time I've done tapping with somebody to, tap through those emotions and then come out the other side is so cool. It's just so cool to see, like, you really do feel it. I just, it's so amazing. So, Kristen, if somebody is listening to this and they're going through this big transition of divorce, what would be some words of encouragement that you could leave with them?
Yeah, I would definitely say that these feelings are temporary. Like, this is huge in this moment and it deserves to be validated and honored. But there is going to be another side to this.
Yeah.
And there is a reason why this is happening right now. And it's not easy to see in the moment, but you definitely will be able to reflect and see that at some point.
I love that. And I will just say I've known Kristen for many years now. And if you're looking just for somebody to help ground you and get into that, just center yourself again. She also does Akashic record readings. Get in touch with Kristen. You will feel so much better after talking to her, and just like you can finally think again. Talking to Kristen is like breathing. So Kristen, we appreciate you so much. And if you would like to work with Kristen or get more information, she also has so much stuff on her Fresh Starts profile page, lots of blog posts and articles and all the good stuff. So head to freshstartsregistry.com/experts and you can find Kristen over there. Kristen, we appreciate you and all of the work you do.
Well, thank you so much.